Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout. All right, all you positive heads, here we go again. Dalien, the alien, welcome, sir.
Greetings and salutations, my friend.
Oh, that's your Bashar intro. I like.
And to you, good day. Oh, why? Is it? Oh, no, I'm just an alien from the same system as Bashar.
Oh, I see. A long-lost relative?
Yeah, we're just...
You heard it here,
that's
folks.
just how
We've now determined Dalien the alien's origins. There's a plot twist.
Yeah, that's just how we say...
long-lost cousin.
Yeah, that's just how we talk in my planet.
I see.
That's just how we just get really excited when we greet others. So our greetings tend to sound over the top to you humans. But
I'm always for a bit of passion, so I like the way you talk. And the way Bashar talks, especially. What's going on today? What do you got? Anything in ways of a mysterious story of the day?
I do. My story today is a mysterious sighting. So it is pretty much your classic mysterious story, your classic type of UFO sighting, you could say. This was a UFO, actually. It was a falling object in Arizona, Brandon, back in September of last year. The story I found through the EWAO.com website, but the story is called Burning Object Above Arizona's Sky, above Arizona, seems to defy all explanations. So if you find that story, you'll see the video. There's a YouTube video embedded of said object, and it looks really trippy. That's why it's become a thing, apparently. I mean, there's definitely by now, in this day and age, in the year 2016, just so many things floating around in the Earth's atmosphere, right? I mean, I think that if you just do a search anytime, you'll find just hundreds, if not thousands, of reported sightings of UFOs, mysterious things floating in the sky, footage on YouTube of all kinds of things. This is a pretty unique one looking, though, Brandon.
Yeah.
The video, it's as it's sort of described in the article, it kind of looks like a patch of burning grass is left behind this object that's falling from the sky. I mean, yeah, it's like the title says, it's a burning falling object.
Weird.
But it just looks odd. It looks otherworldly. It looks supernatural.
When did this occur?
September.
Okay.
But the footage, I don't know if there's only like one piece of video footage that was captured of the falling object, but it's imagine something that you might think is like a satellite that's like re-entering Earth, right?
Yeah.
That's burning up in the atmosphere, that's, breaking apart, etc. It just kind of looks like that, except not. Again, it just like looks odd, and it's just really, really cool for one, right? But it's just something that maybe we'll find out one day what this thing was. Maybe we won't, but it certainly fits the bill for a mysterious sighting of something that looks very, very,
I just wish the mothership would just go ahead and descend down and get it over with,
I know, huh?
Talk to your cousin. Talk to your cousin and get him to bring in a, not Independence Day style, but a friendly version of that maybe.
Yeah, there's a new Independence Day coming out, and it looks like like the first
over
one.
The top action.
Yeah, take the first Independence Day movie and update it for the year 2016 with
add a lot of fear.
Yeah, exactly. Amp up everything: the fear, the visual effects, the destruction.
Of course.
Yeah. But no, this is pretty cool for sure. The the sighting. Like the article says, Brandon, I could just read you real quick. At this point, the mysterious object pauses for another 10 seconds before incinerating the sky once more. It repeats the procedure until it reaches the ground. The areas of the sky where the device went through are looking like patches of burning grass, like I was saying, thus raising a lot of questions about the material that's being released by the falling object. So yeah, there's like all kinds of anomalies. There's no like constant trail of smoke. You know, it looks like it's burning, but there's no like, right? Like cloud of smoke like you would expect to see.
Yeah.
And apparently like the fire, quote unquote, sort of turns off and on at intervals. So it's just very
mysterious indeed, Dalien. Mysterious indeed. Well, moving right along, I would like to go into a positive pondering and breakdown for the day. And this quote, I don't know who the author is, but it's short and sweet and says a lot. Don't judge me by my past. I don't live there anymore. This, of course, being one of the biggest things that ties people down, and we've talked about it regularly on the show because it is such a big piece for all of us. And in the spirit of wanting to have the most potent and powerful daily conscious reminders, it's just one that we have to circle back around to again and again and again, is judging yourself by your past, judging others by your past, because there is no past. It's just a moment that's gone, that can't be brought back. It's not like you remembered it to be. And yet we're always looking at it and trying to define ourselves from what I've done. Think about, every time people meet and, oh, what do you do? What have you done? It's like the resume. Tell me about all your past, because that defines who you are to me. And really, that's, it's one of those many things that are out there in culture that's like a, because it's so prevalent, we think that is that it's proper, and it's really not. You're born anew in each and every moment. And just imagine if you could really integrate that into your consciousness, if you could stop with all the stories that you've told about yourself, because there's so many negative stories that people tell, and then, of course, that holds them down. I'm a person who can't do this or hasn't done that, or this isn't part of my wheelhouse. This isn't part of what I'm capable of. Other people can do that based off their past experiences, but not mine. And so we drag the past into the now, always. Well, not always, but a lot of the time. And that's really one of the biggest things that I'm trying to learn to do, is to put down the stories, put down these things that were nothing more than sort of rites of passage to get me to this moment where I'm being birthed anew. And, thinking back to our podcast a couple days ago, where, just bringing presence to this moment. We're always circling this topic because it is the hardest thing to do for so many people based off of the way we've been conditioned. It's really not that it's difficult to do. It's just like a foreign concept. And we want to instill the concept in your brain that really right now you're born anew. Everything that's went before is dead and gone and only was there to birth you into this. It's like a butterfly looking back at a caterpillar and saying, talking about, well, I was a caterpillar. I really can't fly. And meanwhile, you've got these wings and you're not using them because you're too busy talking about what you were last week when you were a caterpillar. And I think that's a good way to look at it with all of us. You have all these gifts and progress that you've made that you could implement and utilize, but yet you're sitting on it and not utilizing it because you're too busy thinking about, judging yourself by this past place you don't live in anymore. And it's sort of like this residual negative residue that we carry along with us that holds us down, keeps us as the caterpillar.
That's so well said, Brandon. The way you explained it, I think it really drives the point home that this is just such an important thing to be aware of, to practice, to try and do that programming. And you absolutely, I think, did that, but for sure it's something that could be looked at every day, that we could, make a small mention to every day to serve as a little bit of a reminder. I know that someone like Eckhart Tolle is really, really good. And that's, I think we played a Eckhart clip a couple of days ago. But he's really, really good at pointing that out, how the whole element of past is so very illusory and so very, much something that we give a lot of reality to when it has very little reality, really, or hardly any at all. And he's one who's
none.
Really,
I mean, other than the story that led you to where you're at. I mean, that's the only relevance that it has on this moment. I mean, it's put you in the circumstances that you're in, I guess, is the one thing that people may argue, and that's a valid point. But once again, because it's put you in certain circumstances and it's led you to where you're at now, it has nothing to do with where you're going. And that's where we really disconnect. We think, oh, it was there before, so it's going to be there again, and we're going to carry it forward. And it becomes like a giant weight, a chain that we're carrying, dragging around. Everyone's dragging this stuff around that's completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your interview with Dr. Bruce Lipton, he said something that's kind of like another little perspective on that whole thing. He talks about subconscious programming versus, what we always say, our conscious statement of our desires for life and our intentions, etc. And he talks about the quintessential dilemma that we often, he puts it like 95% of the time that we spend during the day, we revert to that kind of programming where we're thinking about this or that. That's not this conscious, statement of, it's just our programming, right? That starts playing again. That's subconscious or barely conscious, right?
Right.
That includes a lot of dysfunctional thinking, a lot of projection into the past or the future. And that's just, again, like you said, and like he's explained, it's programming that we have to try and undo. Yeah. But it's just part of the way we're conditioned. So, as like you indicated, it seems like a very foreign thing until you get it initially. You sort of have that breakthrough that, oh yeah, I see that. And then the more you look at that, the more you can internalize and change that.
Absolutely. What I'd like to do now is share a short clip from Alan Watts talking about this very subject, bringing in some outside perspective. This particular clip was found on the Alan Watts Ideas YouTube page. It's titled, "We Can Choose Our Future." Take a listen.
So the course of time is really very much like the course of a ship in the ocean. Because here's the ship, you see, and it leaves behind it a wake. And the wake fades out. And that tells us where the ship has been. In just the same way as the past and our memory of the past tells us what we have done. But as we go back into the past, and we go back and back to prehistory, and we use all kinds of instruments and scientific methods for detecting what happened, we eventually reach a point where all record of the past fades away in just the same way as the wake of the ship. Now, the important thing to remember in this illustration is that the wake doesn't drive the ship any more than the tail wags the dog. Supposing there's a neurotic, difficult child, and one school of thought used to say, well, bang him about, beat him up, and maybe he'll change. But then they said, oh no, that's not fair to the child to beat him up because it was his parents. They didn't bring him up properly. And so then they say, well, punish the parents. Well, the parents say, excuse me, but our parents were neurotic too, and they brought us up badly, so we couldn't help what we did. And so since the grandparents are dead, we can't get at them. And in any case, supposing we could, we would pass the whole blame back to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And they say they started all this mess. But then Eve would say, no, the serpent tempted me and I did eat, and it was the serpent's fault. Well, you know, when God, in the story of Genesis, asked Eve, didst thou eat the fruit of the tree whereof I told thee thou shouldst not eat? She said, oh, but the serpent tempted me, and I did eat. And God looked at the serpent, and the serpent didn't make any excuse. He probably winked. Because the serpent, being an angel, was wise enough to know where the present begins. So you see, if you insist on being moved, being determined by the past, that's your game. But the fact of the matter is, it all starts right now. But we like to establish a connectivity with the past, because that gives other people the impression that we're sane. If you ask me then, why am I talking? Well, I could say I'm making a living this way, or I have a message that I want to get across to you. But that is not the reason. I'm talking for the same reason that birds sing and for the same reason that the stars shine. I dig it. Why do you dig it? Well, I could go on answering all sorts of questions about human motivation and psychology, but they wouldn't explain a thing, because explaining things by the past is really a refusal to explain them at all. All you're doing is postponing the explanation. You're putting it back and back and back and back, and that explains nothing. What does explain things is the present. Why do you do it now? Now, this is a slight cheat, because that doesn't explain it either. Because what happens now, just as the sound comes out of silence, all this comes out of nowhere. This is in connection with what I explained to you in another talk about the power of nothingness. All life suddenly emerges out of space. Bang, right now. And to ask again, why does it happen, is an unprofitable question. Because the interesting thing is not why, but what. What happens? Not why does it happen. I can say, well, I am doing this now because I did that then. And so I am producing for you a continuous line of thought. But actually I'm doing it backwards. I'm doing it always from now and connecting up what I do now with what I did so that you can see a consistent story. If I define myself as the whole field of events, we'll say the organism-environment field, which is the real me, then all the things that happen to me may be called my doing. And that is the real sense of karma. But when we speak about freedom from karma, freedom from being the puppet of the past, that simply involves a change in your thinking. It involves, in other words, you're getting rid of the habit of thought whereby you define yourself as the result of what has gone before, and instead get into the more plausible and more reasonable habit of thought, in terms of which you don't define yourself in terms of what you've done before, but in terms of what you're doing now. And that is liberation from the ridiculous situation of being a dog wagged by its tail.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Athletic Greens. I recently went to a naturopathic doctor who did some testing and determined I was having issues with gut health. So when I had the opportunity to start taking Athletic Greens, I jumped at the chance. With 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins and minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. It not only helps with your gut health, it helps your nervous and immune systems, energy levels, and more. And since it contains super high-quality ingredients in powder form, it has a very high absorption rate, whereas many pills don't. With just 1 scoop in a cup of water, you can arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition for less than $3 a day. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give Positive Head listeners a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, which many people are quite low in, as well as 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/positivehead. Again, head over to athleticgreens.com/positivehead to take ownership over your health today. Alan Watts always has such a wonderful way of putting it, you know. He traces everything back to Adam and Eve, and, getting rid of the habit of thought where you define yourself by what you've done before, and instead start to define yourself by what you're doing now. That's the hugest takeaway from me. What are you doing now? Someone asks you about yourself. Well, today, let's see, I had this for lunch. I'm eating this right now, or I'm wearing this outfit, or I'm doing this activity where I'm meeting you. This is me. Here I am. Here's my passions. Here's where I want to direct this jumping off point from that I'm on. I want to take it forward, maybe perhaps with this. I mean, it makes more sense to even talk about the future than the past. But even that, you got to be very careful with projecting, set your goals, set your intentions, set your aims, but then release those because it is not really ever going to show up exactly like you think. And so it can show up better than you think. So let it go.
Oh, yeah, that's very well said. Once again, Brian, it's true that we do that, but we don't realize it how we project and, again, sort of revert to our programming. But I love the way you put it, and you've already made it into your go-to opening question for the podcast. When you ask, your interviews, you ask them, what is your passion?
Right.
You give that whole elevator scenario.
Yeah.
And I know it's something that's perhaps, it's an idea that's gone around like the burner community or some of these other communities where people like to sort of greet each other that way. They know that they're trying not to define each other in these old, outdated ways.
Right.
They know that they want to come from a different place when relating to each other. So when they meet, they won't ask each other like, okay, give me your CV, your resume, give me your list of accomplishments. No, I don't really care about any of that. I care about what are you excited about right now?
Exactly.
Yeah, what is moving you right now? What are you alive for right now? So that's a much, in my opinion, better way to put everything in the context that, at least to me, really matters.
And that's a question to put to all the listeners. What is your passion right now? Get in tune with that, because think about that. What is your passion? And then as you think about it, as you dwell on that, you get excited. Well, that's your path.
That's where you're meant to be. Exactly.
Follow that excitement. Why would you spend your precious, precious energy focused on some bad story, that happened to you 5 years ago or 10 years ago or last week or last month or 10 minutes ago for that matter?
Only if you're someone like Stephen King who can rewrite their, personal dramas into some like awesome horror story or something.
Right,
in that case, maybe. But
unless you're a horror novelist author. Worry is a poor use of imagination. Dwelling on negative past, I would say, is a poor use of imagination. What is your passion now? Drum it up. What are you doing now? And is that defining you in a way that you feel good about? If it's not, do something different now, right now. And if you do that, and you do that fearlessly, the universe will meet you to make sure that you are successful, you are supported. And that's the biggest fear I think a lot of people have with following their passion is, will I be supported? The answer is yes. Find out. Do it. Be brave. Be bold. That's where the magic lies.
Absolutely, Brian. I had to come back to this real quick because I brought up Stephen King kind of randomly. He just sort of popped in my head. But actually, it's not quite so random because even though he's a horror novelist, and to be honest, I haven't really read a lot of or hardly any of his stuff. But of course, I have seen it, turned into films and other media like so many people. But one of the things that I guess part of the reason why I wanted to come back to it real quick is that even though he's a horror novelist, he seems to be someone who appears to have like a very sort of grounded and, pretty cool perspective on life. Someone he's a smart guy, obviously, but he seems to have sort of a head well screwed on his shoulders, you could say. And for a writer who's in a way kind of symbolizes, success, as a novelist, right, as a fiction writer. And again, as a writer of horror stories and things like that, he appears to be someone who's very much on the side of life and on the side of these things, finding your purpose, finding your passion, becoming great at what you do, and pursuing these things that, may take a form that perhaps is off-putting to some, but the sort of essence behind it and the process, everything to do with that really is very kind of life-enhancing, I could say. So perhaps it's not such a random thing after all, because it's like I was telling a friend recently, I don't care what you do, and this could really even go back to the whole question about passion and purpose, but I don't care what you do, I care about how you do it. Yeah,
well said. Well, Dalien, that gets down to it for today's episode. I do have some music queued up here, though, and this is the group Wildlight, 2-member group, and this is the song Lantern. Hope you enjoy. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Tasting all that's come before you. Here, hold, got your back, all behind, all it's past. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all it wants to move you. Day by night, lantern set inside. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all that's come before you. Here, hold, got your back, all behind, all it's past. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all it wants to move you. Listen, child, how your throat's making these rounds like a typhoon, getting used to giving its way. Silent with all grace, no holding back your voice of the voiceless, knowing the nameless, choosing the righteous. Worth what you give this voice of the voiceless, knowing the nameless, choosing the righteous. Worth what you give this voice of the voiceless, knowing the nameless, choosing the righteous. Worth what you give this. These hands do not hold the strings that dance you. You're holding tight but don't want to dance this way, and breaking the way that's never been shown to you, my love. This trail is yours to set light to. No one but yourself can lead you where you must go. Only you know. Name it your own trail to set light to. Lead by night, lantern set inside. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all that's come before you. Here, hold, got your back, all behind, all it's past. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all it wants to move you. Lead by night, lantern set inside. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all that's come before you. Here, hold, got your back, all behind, all it's past. Speak to the fear, speak it right. Tasting all it wants to move.